Yes, indeed. If this was a rock anthem, if we had to choose one for right now, it would be the final countdown. But unfortunately, I don't have the 80s hair. I don't have the ability on the electric guitar. So instead, I'm going to have to talk to you about task 4. That's right, task 4. You should have done 3 already. And this is now the final one. So if we have a look here on the screen, you're doing task 4, and this is called the reflection, because you're reflecting not on a big mountain like it says here, or it shows here on the picture, but you're actually reflecting on what you've done in the PLP so far. So let's have a look here in Moodle when we click onto this button, and we've got task 4 and the rubric. That's the first document that I would click on. So when you click on that document and it downloads very, very quickly there, and you open it up, it's all quite easy when you go through it carefully. So the first thing that you'll see is that it's actually weighted as 1/4, like all your other tasks. And the task itself is a reflection. Okay, so you know the writing style straight away. It's a reflection on what you've achieved throughout the PLP as far as developing plans and skills and your goals. You also need to evaluate the development of your chosen SACE capabilities. Remember, you had 7 to choose from the start, and you need to provide examples and evidence. Really important there. So make sure you provide examples and evidence. So the things that you're going to be assessed on is developing this selected capability or capabilities relevant to achieving your goals, and reviewing your personal and learning goals and reflecting on the effectiveness. So how effective have they been, and the strategies you use to achieve them. Also reviewing the development and of the selected capability or capabilities. So you might have chosen one capability that covers both your learning and your personal goals, or you might have a couple of different ones there. Now, format. You can either do a 5 to 600 word written reflection, or a 5 to 6 minute video with evidence. So both with evidence, forgot to mention there on the 5 to 600 word. And don't ask your teacher, ask myself, can I do more than 600 words? No, it's a margin, 5 to 600 words, okay? So stick within that limit. It's not that hard. You might find it reasonably hard, but then work with your teacher to bring it down, hopefully. You shouldn't find it hard to write 5 or 600 words. How are you going to get marked? Well, let's have a look at the rubric here. So you're going to be marked in this little section here. We want you to effectively develop the selected capability or capabilities relevant to achieving his or her goals. So you've shown that effective development in well-planned, insightful and or creative ways, and also clearly reviews personal and learning goals. So you need to be showing that you are reviewing them, and you're going to see more of that when we show you the guiding document in just a second. With insightful reflection, so not just superficial reflection, but really going into depth there on the effectiveness. So how effective have those strategies been in trying to achieve your goals, and also reviewing the development of your capability or capabilities with insights into how they help to achieve your goals as well. So let's switch over documents now. The other document that you're going to be looking at is the details for the presentation itself. So this goes into a bit more depth. When you click onto this document, we have a look at it closely here. This is the document where it's showing where you've come from, the history, and also where you're going. So that's what a little bit that we'll discuss in a second as well. So we've already talked about the task overview. I'm not going to talk about that again, but the task description is really about, that's the overall one, is about setting goals and developing the capabilities and skills you need for the rest of your schooling and beyond. That's why we do this. We talked about the assessment itself, but let's have a look at the reflection here being broken down a little bit. So you know the presentation options, I've already talked about that. But stage number 1, we need an introduction. So why do you think it was important to have a plan? Why do you think it's important to have a plan? So make this personal to yourself. You know, it was important to have a plan so that you could break down your overall goals. You can talk about your smarter goals that you set so that you clearly had a better chance of, you know, maybe getting to that end point. So the hint here, you need to explain how your planning skills have changed through Program X in relation to your goals. So remember when you had to talk to a significant mentor or a person, it might have been a parent, might have been an uncle, might have been an auntie, might have been a coach. So how did your goal change? What tasks or activities have helped you along the way to make better choices? So that's only about 100 words or 1 to 2 minutes. Don't get carried away in this section, or you won't have enough chance to go into detail about what you actually did. So the body of evidence, we've broken it into 2 parts here. So part one is about really thinking how you've developed and demonstrated your 2 capabilities. So think back to task 1. Where did you start? You know, at the start of PLP, what processes did you go through developing the capabilities? Give examples of what you did, your ability level after completing these processes. How did your understanding change? Provide evidence of your development of your chosen capabilities. So if you increased your literacy, what was the evidence? Were you now using more words? You know, your numeracy, how did you develop it? If that was the chosen capabilities that you were developing. We want to see that evidence, as much evidence as possible. Like in a good essay is great. Really show the evidence. Part 2 is about reflecting on your goals and how much progress you've made towards achieving them. So goal number 1, your personal goal, what was it and how did you progress it? Once again, talking about the evidence. Evidence is great here. Learning goal. You know, where were you at the start? You had your learning goal. What were you trying to do? How did you achieve this? What was the journey along the way? Continue to give evidence. So 150 words we're saying roughly for part 2 and maybe a bit more for part 1. But if that changes, that's not the end of the world. It's up to you. So as long as, you know, total you're thinking about 400 words or about 4 minutes of your production if you're doing it in a verbal sense. And then your final reflection, consider how your goals and action or strategies used might impact or influence your future study or career pathway. And that's why when we're having a look at it, one of the things that we're actually marking overall is continuing to develop your goals. Okay, so not just stopping where you are, but also thinking a little bit future bound. Okay, so consider how your goals and actions might impact or influence your future study or career pathway. So you could go into that work mindset or study mindset. So make sure you follow these guides. They'll be really, really helpful. And make sure you consider what I talked about, evidence. Don't just go through the motions of what you did, but talk about why you did it and how you can show what you did. Okay, so really make sure you show that evidence. Okay, so 2 ways of doing it. One is in the written format, in which case you will submit it via the task 4 button here in Turnitin. Submit it to your teacher unless they negotiate otherwise. And if you do it in the multimodal or the video format, a 4 to 5, or sorry, was it 5 to 6 minute speech, then you'll probably submit it maybe through Google Classroom and talk to your teacher about that. Thanks for your attention. I really look forward to seeing you getting through the PLP. And you can see here, July 26th, if you look that up, you'll find it's the end of week 1 of term 3. And if you're on task, completely through the PLP, what a great feeling that will be by the end of week 1 of term 3. Maybe even earlier if you want to get it done before these upcoming holidays. All the best with it.